I was 16 when my parents decided to turn our family into a corporate competition, complete with performance metrics and quarterly reviews. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start at the beginning, back when we were still an actual family. Growing up, we weren't perfect, but we were normal. Dad worked in management consulting. Mom had been a corporate lawyer before she became a stay-at-home parent. We live in a nice suburb with good schools, took annual vacations to national parks, and had Sunday dinners together. Emma was the responsible oldest child, always organized and driven. Marcus and I were twins, and we've been inseparable since birth, finishing each other's sentences and sharing everything. Tyler was the baby, sweet and sensitive, always drawing pictures and leaving them on our bedroom doors. The shift started subtly. Dad began making comments at dinner about return on investment when discussing our activities. Mom started asking pointed questions about our grades, not in a supportive way, but like she was conducting performance evaluations. Emma was a junior in high school, excelling at everything. Marcus and I were sophomores, doing well enough. Tyler was in 8th grade, struggling a bit with math, but otherwise fine. Then came the family meeting. It was a Tuesday evening in March. Dad had texted the family group chat that morning with a message that made my stomach drop even before I understood why. Mandatory family meeting tonight at 7 p.m. No excuses. This concerns everyone's future. Mom followed up with, dress nicely. This is important. We gathered in the dining room. The formal one we only use for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Dad had set up his laptop connected to the TV on the wall. Mom sat beside him with her own laptop, that color-coded spreadsheet already glowing on the screen. Emma sat across from them, her posture perfect, hands folded. Marcus and I exchanged worried glances as we took our seats. Tyler looked small and scared in his chair, his legs not quite reaching the floor. Dad cleared his throat and opened that leather bind. I'll never forget the sound of the pages turning, crisp and businesslike. Thank you all for being here, he began, like we had a choice. Your mother and I have been doing a lot of thinking about fairness, motivation, and preparing you for the real world. Mom took over, her voice steady and rehearsed. We've realized that traditional parenting doesn't adequately prepare children for competitive environments. In the real world, performance matters. Results matter. We've decided to implement a new family structure that will better prepare you for success. She turned her laptop so we could see the spreadsheet more clearly. Our names ran down the left column. Across the top were categories: academic performance, extracurricular achievement, household contributions, physical fitness, social development, and character metrics. Each category had subcategories. Each subcategory had a point value. My hands went cold. Starting today, Dad continued, you'll each be evaluated monthly across these metrics. Your scores will be compiled and ranked. We'll track your progress over time, adjusting for age-appropriate expectations, of course. He smiled like this was generous. Tyler, we obviously won't expect you to compete academically at the same level as Emma. The system accounts for developmental stages. What's this for? Emma asked, her voice careful. She'd already started calculating. I could see it in her eyes. Mom and Dad exchanged a look, some kind of silent communication passing between them. Then Mom spoke. When Emma turns 18 and graduates high school, we'll evaluate the final rankings. Whoever is in first place will inherit everything. The family business assets, the trust funds, the property holdings, this house, all of it. They'll be set up for life, with every advantage we can provide. The silence that followed was suffocating. Marcus's hand found mine under the table, squeezing so hard it hurt. What about the rest of us? I finally managed to ask. Dad's expression didn't change. The rest of you will receive nothing. You'll be financially independent from that point forward. No college tuition, no family support, no inheritance. You'll be removed from family documents and legal structures. You're disowning us? Marcus's voice cracked. 3 of your 4 children? We're motivating you, Mom corrected. In nature, competition drives evolution. In business, it drives innovation. We're giving you the gift of real stakes, real consequences. Imagine how driven you'll be, knowing what's possible if you simply work harder than your siblings. Tyler started crying, quiet tears rolling down his cheeks. Emma stared at the spreadsheet like it was a puzzle she needed to solve. Marcus looked at me, his face reflecting the same horror I felt. This is insane, I said. We're your kids, not employees. That kind of attitude will reflect in your character metrics, Dad said, making a note in his binder. Respect for parental authority, acceptance of family structure. These things matter. Mom pulled up another screen. We've already input baseline data. Emma, you're currently in first place, which makes sense given your age and established track record. The rankings will be posted on the refrigerator and updated on the 1st of each month. We'll have quarterly family reviews to discuss performance and areas for improvement. She printed something, and the sound of the printer in the next room was like a death knell. Dad retrieved the paper, and right there in front of us, box. Use a magnet to stick it to the refrigerator. Our names in order, Emma in green at the top, then me, then Marcus, then Tyler in red at the bottom. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about how Mom had smiled when she explained the character metrics, how subjective they were. Things like integrity, family loyalty, emotional stability, leadership potential, she'd said. These can't be quantified precisely, so we'll use our best judgment. Translation: she could manipulate the rankings however she wanted. I heard Marcus moving around in his room next door. We'd always been in sync, even our insomnia. I texted him, "You awake?" His response came immediately, "Can't stop thinking about it." We met in the hallway, sitting on the floor between our rooms like we used to when we were little and scared of thunderstorms. "They're serious," Marcus whispered. I saw the binder. "There are contracts in there, legal documents. They've been planning this for months. What are we going to do?" He shook his head. "I don't know, but Emma's already won, hasn't she? She's older. She's always been the perfect one. We don't have a chance." "What about Tyler?" I asked. The thought of our baby brother trying to compete against us made me feel sick. "Tyler's already marked for failure. Did you see where he ranked? They've written him off." The changes started immediately. The next morning, Emma was up at 5 a.m. I heard her in the kitchen, the sound of dishes clinking, the vacuum running. When I came down for breakfast at 7, the entire downstairs was spotless. Emma was at the table with her laptop, already working on homework, her hair perfect, makeup applied. "Morning," she said without looking up. "You didn't have to clean everything," I said. Household contributions are worth 20% of the total score. If I do an hour of housework every morning, that's 7 hours a week, 30 hours a month. Plus, if I do it before anyone else is awake, I get the early riser bonus Mom mentioned. Now she looked at me, and her eyes were different. Calculating. "You should probably start thinking about your strategy. Strategy for being a family member." At school, Emma joined 4 new clubs that day. She'd always been involved, but now she was everywhere. Student government, debate team, volunteer coordinator, peer tutoring. She stopped eating lunch with her friends, instead using the time to study in a library or organize fundraisers. Marcus had a different approach. He came home with a course catalog and a highlighter, mapping out the most advanced classes he could take. He'd always been artistic, spending hours painting and playing guitar, but that evening he took down all his artwork from his walls. Distractions, he explained when I asked. "I need to focus on what actually counts." "Your art counts," I said. "It's who you are. It doesn't earn points." He wouldn't look at me. I'm already behind Emma. I need to make up ground fast. Tyler retreated entirely. He started spending all his time in his room, and when Mom called him down for dinner, he barely spoke. His grades, which had never been great, started slipping further. Mom noted it at the next family meeting, her voice disappointed. "Tyler, you're trending in the wrong direction. At this rate, you'll be even further behind by next month." The first monthly ranking update was brutal. Mom gathered us in the living room, her laptop open. "Overall, I'm pleased with the increased effort I'm seeing from most of you," she began. "Emma, excellent work. You've increased your leads significantly. Your extracurricular expansion and household contributions have been noted." Emma smiled, a tight, controlled expression. She lost weight, I realized. There were dark circles under her makeup. "Marcus and the twins are neck and neck," Mom continued. Marcus had pulled ahead of me slightly through sheer academic grind. He dropped all his elective arts classes and loaded up on AP courses. "Good improvement, Marcus, though I've noticed some attitude issues that are affecting your character metrics." Marcus's jaw tightened. The attitude issues were that he'd snapped at Mom when she'd criticized his guitar playing as a waste of time. 10 points deducted for disrespect. "Tyler," Mom's voice took on a different tone. "We need to have a serious conversation about effort. Your grades have dropped, you're not participating in any activities, and your household contributions are minimal. This isn't acceptable." Tyler stared at his lap. He was 14 years old, competing against his 17 and 16-year-old siblings, being told he wasn't acceptable. "I want to see significant improvement by next month," Mom said, "or we'll need to discuss consequences." After the meeting, I found Tyler in his room, curled up on his bed. "Hey, buddy," I said, sitting beside him. "You okay?" "I can't do it," he whispered. "I can't be like Emma or Marcus. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I'm going to lose." "Tyler, listen to me. This whole thing is wrong. You're not supposed to have to compete to be loved." "But I do." He looked at me with red, swollen eyes. "And I'm going to lose, and then I won't have a family anymore." I wanted to promise him that wouldn't happen, but I couldn't, because it was exactly what was going to happen. Mom and Dad had made that clear. The next few months were a descent into dysfunction. We stopped being siblings. Emma became a performance machine, every action calculated for maximum point value. She'd smile at Mom and Dad, say say all the right things, volunteer for every possible task. But away from them, she was different, cold, exhausted. I heard her crying in her room, sometimes late at night, but when I knocked, she wouldn't answer. Marcus pushed himself to the breaking point. He started waking up at 4 a.m. to study, going to bed after midnight. He gave up everything he loved, every hobby, every interest that didn't directly contribute to his ranking. His artwork gathered dust. His guitar sat untouched. He stopped hanging out with friends, stopped watching movies, stopped doing anything that wasn't optimized for points. I tried to maintain some balance, but it was impossible. The pressure was constant. Every conversation with mom and dad was an evaluation. Every family dinner was a performance review. The character metrics were mom's favorite weapon. If she didn't like something you said, something about your attitude, your tone, your expression, points vanished. And the criteria were so vague, so subjective, that you never knew what might trigger a deduction. I started documenting things. I'm not sure when I decided to do it, but I began keeping detailed notes. I screenshotted the ranking updates, recorded conversations on my phone, saved copies of the spreadsheets. Some instinct told me I need evidence of what was happening. Tyler got worse. He stopped going to school regularly, claiming stomach aches and headaches. Mom was furious, docking him points for attendance, but that just made him more anxious. He started wetting the bed again, something he hadn't done since he was 6. I'd hear him crying in the bathroom at night, trying to clean his sheets before anyone noticed. One morning, I found him scrubbing his mattress with shaking hands, tears streaming down his face. "I'm disgusting," he said. "I'm a baby. No wonder I'm last." "You're not disgusting," I said, helping him. "You're stressed. This situation is making you sick." Mom says stress is just weakness. She says successful people thrive under pressure. He was 14. He should have been worried about homework and video games and maybe his first crush. Instead, he was being told his worth as a human being was quantifiable and currently insufficient. The quarterly review was worse than the monthly updates. Dad had created a presentation with graphs showing our performance trends over time. Emma's line went steadily upward. Marcus's climbed sharply, then plateaued. Mine was relatively flat. Tyler's dropped like a stone. "These trends are concerning," Dad said, pointing at Tyler's graph. "We're seeing a complete lack of engagement. Tyler, do you understand what's at stake here?" Tyler nodded, but he wouldn't look up. "I don't think you do," Mom interjected, "because if you did, you'd be trying harder. You'd be fighting for your place in this family." "Maybe he doesn't want to fight," I said. "Maybe he just wants to be your son." Mom's eyes went cold. "That attitude is exactly why you're not first place. You don't understand that love and success are earned, not given. We're teaching you valuable lessons about how the world really works. The world doesn't make kids compete for their parents' love," Marcus said quietly. "Doesn't it?" Dad smiled. "Every scholarship, every job, every opportunity, you're competing against someone. We're just making it explicit. We're preparing you." After the review, Marcus was quiet. Too quiet. He went to his room and didn't come out for dinner. I knocked around 9 p.m. and he told me to go away. Something in his voice scared me. I waited an hour, then used the trick we developed as kids, jiggling his doorknob in a specific pattern so he'd know it was me. He didn't respond, so I picked the lock with a bobby pin, another skill from childhood. Marcus was sitting on his bed, and in his hand was a bottle of sleeping pills. Our mom's prescription. I could see from the bottle that pills were missing, and there were 5 white tablets lined up on his nightstand. "Marcus!" My voice came out strangled. He looked at me, and his eyes were empty. "Did you know I used to want to go to art school? I had this whole plan. I was going to study illustration, maybe animation. I loved creating things." He laughed, a hollow sound. "Now I can't remember the last time I drew something. I can't remember the last time I did anything that made me happy." "Put the pills down. I've already taken 5. I'm just deciding if I should take more." He said it so calmly, like he was discussing the weather. I did the math. I can't win. Emma's too far ahead, and even if I somehow caught up, Mom would just adjust my character metrics to put me back down. The system is rigged, and I'm killing myself trying to win a game I can't win. I sat beside him, moving slowly, then stopped playing. If I stop, I lose everything. I lose you. I lose Tyler. I lose any chance at a future. They made it clear. Last place might as well be dead anyway. "Marcus, please, give me the pills." He looked at the remaining tablets on his nightstand. "What's the point? What's the point of any of this? The point is you're my brother, my twin. We came into this world together, and I'm not losing you to their insanity." I took his hand. "Please, we'll figure something out, but I need you here." It took 20 minutes to convince him to let me take the pills. I flushed them all, the 5 on his nightstand and the rest in the bottle. Then I made him drink water and stay awake while I researched what 5 sleeping pills might do. The internet said he'd probably be okay, just very drowsy, but to monitor him. I stayed in his room all night, watching him sleep, making sure he kept breathing, and I made a decision. This had to stop. I didn't know how yet, but I couldn't let this continue. The next morning, I told our parents what had happened. I expected concern, maybe even alarm. Instead, Mom's face tightened with anger. "He took pills for attention," she said. "That's manipulative behavior." "He took them because he wanted to die," I said. "Because you've created a situation where your 16-year-old son thinks death is better than disappointing you." Dad shook his head. "This is exactly the kind of emotional instability we're measuring with character metrics. Marcus is showing poor stress management and manipulative tendencies." Manipulative? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "He almost killed himself." "Almost," Mom repeated, "but he didn't, because it was a cry for attention, not a genuine attempt. And we don't reward that kind of behavior in this family." That evening, the updated rankings went up. Marcus had been docked 10 points for emotional instability and manipulation. He dropped below me in a 3rd place. When Marcus saw it, something broke in him. Or maybe something healed. He looked at the ranking, then at Mom and Dad, then at me. "You're monsters," he said quietly. "I almost died, and you're docking me points. You're being dramatic," Mom said. "And that attitude is exactly why your character scores are suffering." Marcus laughed, a real laugh this time, slightly unhinged. "You know what? I'm done. Dock me all the points you want. I'm done destroying myself for your sick game." He went to his room, and for the first time in months, he painted. I could hear music playing, his guitar, his voice singing along off-key. When I checked on him, his walls were covered with new artwork, vibrant and alive and angry. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Remembering who I am," he said. "I'm going to lose anyway. Might as well lose as myself." His defiance gave me courage. That's when I started being more systematic about my documentation. I recorded family meetings on my phone, hidden in my pocket. I took photos of the spreadsheets, the rankings, the binder with its legal documents. I found a file on Mom's computer, the master file, password protected, but not well. She'd used Tyler's birthday, which told me everything about how little she actually knew her own son. Inside that file was everything. Detailed plans spanning years. They'd been preparing for this since Emma was 14, setting up the legal structures, consulting with lawyers about how to legally disown children. There were drafted documents already partially filled out that would remove 3 of us from all family legal connections. Trust funds would be dissolved, college savings accounts emptied and transferred to the winner. There were even notes about cutting off all contact, treating the losers as if they'd never existed. The cruelty of it was breathtaking. This wasn't about motivation or preparation for the real world. This was about control, about power, about reducing their children to competing performers in some twisted experiment. I spent 3 months gathering everything. Every ranking update, every family meeting, every conversation where they discussed their plans. I documented Tyler's declining mental health, Marcus's suicide attempt, Emma's transformation into an anxiety-ridden automaton. I recorded Mom explaining how character metrics could be adjusted based on subjective observations. I captured Dad discussing how this would teach us that family love was conditional and earned. Then I called Child Protective Services. The caseworker who answered listened to my initial explanation with professional calm. "I need you to tell me if anyone is in immediate danger," she said. "My 14-year-old brother has stopped going to school and is having panic attacks. My twin brother attempted suicide 2 months ago. My older sister has developed an eating disorder from stress. We're all being emotionally abused through a ranking system that determines our worth as human beings." There was a pause. "I'm going to need you to explain that more clearly." I did. I explained everything, and I told her I had documentation. She scheduled a home visit for the following week. I didn't tell my siblings what I'd done. I was terrified I'd made things worse, that CPS wouldn't believe me or wouldn't care, that Mom and Dad would find out and the consequences would be severe. But I also knew I couldn't watch my family destroy itself anymore. The caseworker arrived on a Thursday afternoon. Mom and Dad were surprised, but hid it well, putting on their perfect parent performance. The house was immaculate. Emma had been coached to smile and say everything was fine. Tyler had been threatened into compliance. But the caseworker was thorough. She interviewed each of us separately. When it was my turn, I gave her the folder I'd prepared. Printed screenshots, transcripts of recordings, copies of the master file from Mom's computer showing the disownment plans. Her expression changed as she read through it. "This is extensive documentation," she said carefully. "How long have you been gathering this?" 3 months of active documentation. But the system has been in place for 6 months total. She interviewed Mom and Dad last. I don't know exactly what was said, but I heard raised voices, Mom's sharp tone insisting they had every right to structure their family as they saw fit, Dad's controlled anger at the invasion of privacy. The caseworker returned twice more over the next 2 weeks, each time with additional questions, each time examining more evidence. She brought a supervisor on the second visit. They talked to our school counselors, who confirmed the changes in our behavior and performance. They talked to Tyler's pediatrician, who had documented his anxiety and recommended therapy that our parents had refused, calling it a sign of weakness. The final meeting included everyone: the caseworker, her supervisor, our parents, and all 4 of us kids. Mom and Dad sat rigid with fury. Emma looked terrified, Tyler confused, Marcus cautiously hopeful. After thorough investigation, the supervisor began, "We've determined that the system implemented in this household constitutes emotional abuse and creates an unsafe environment for minors. The ranking system, the threatened disownment, and the conditional nature of parental support are psychologically harmful. We have the right to structure our family as we choose." Dad interrupted. "You have the right to parent your children. You don't have the right to abuse them." The supervisor's voice was firm. The documentation provided shows a systematic pattern of emotional manipulation, psychological harm, and neglect of mental health needs. We're requiring immediate cessation of the ranking system and mandatory family therapy. If these requirements aren't met, or if we find evidence of retaliation against the children, we'll pursue removal and foster placement. Mom's face went white, not with shame or regret, but with rage. She knew exactly who had provided that documentation. Her eyes found mine across the room, and the look she gave me was pure hatred. Furthermore, the caseworker added, "We're requiring individual therapy for each child, particularly Tyler and Marcus, whose mental health has been severely impacted. The school has been notified and will be monitoring the situation. We'll be conducting follow-up visits monthly for the next 6 months." After they left, the house was silent. Emma went to her room without a word. Tyler sat on the couch, looking shell-shocked. Marcus met my eyes and nodded, a tiny gesture of gratitude and solidarity. Mom and Dad called me into their office. The binder was still on the desk, the spreadsheet still glowing on the laptop screen. "You destroyed this family," Mom said. Her voice was cold, controlled. "Everything we were trying to build, everything we were trying to teach you about the real world, you've destroyed it. You were destroying us," I said. Tyler was falling apart. Marcus tried to kill himself. Emma is starving herself. "I saved this family. You betrayed us," Dad said. "You went outside the family, brought strangers into our private business, humiliated us. That's not loyalty. That's not family. Family isn't supposed to be a competition. Family is supposed to be the place where you're loved unconditionally." Mom laughed, a bitter sound. "Love is conditional. Every relationship is transactional. We were teaching you that truth early, giving you the tools to succeed. Now you'll learn the hard way, and you'll realize we were right." They couldn't officially continue the ranking system, but they didn't give up their beliefs. The spreadsheet came down from the refrigerator, but the judgment remained. Mom and Dad became cold, distant, treating us with formal politeness rather than parental warmth. They complied with the therapy requirements, but in sessions, they maintained they'd done nothing wrong. Tyler's individual therapy helped him slowly start to heal. He began going back to school, and his bedwetting stopped after a few weeks. He started drawing again, leaving pictures on our doors like he used to. They were different now, darker, but still unmistakably Tyler. Marcus threw himself back into his art with fierce intensity. He painted everything he'd felt over those 6 months, canvases full of rage and pain and survival. His portfolio was stunning, raw, and honest. He started applying to art schools, and he didn't care what Mom and Dad thought about it. Emma had the hardest time adjusting. She'd internalized so much of the system, made herself into what it demanded, that she didn't know how to stop performing. In family therapy, she kept trying to get approval, to be the good daughter, to win even though there was no longer anything to win. Her therapist diagnosed her with severe anxiety and an eating disorder. It took months before she could eat a meal without calculating its value in some imaginary point system. As for me, I felt guilty. Guilty for not acting sooner, for letting it go on as long as it did. Guilty for the way Mom and Dad looked at me now, like I was a traitor. Guilty for breaking apart what little remained of our family structure. But I also felt relief. We were free. Damaged, traumatized, but free. The monthly CPS visits continued. Our caseworker checked in with each of us, monitored our therapy progress, ensured Mom and Dad weren't retaliated. They were too smart for obvious retaliation, but the emotional withdrawal was its own form of punishment. They provided for our basic needs, but nothing more. No warmth, no pride in our accomplishments, no interest in our lives. In a way, they'd proven their own point. Their love had always been conditional. We just hadn't known the conditions until they made them explicit. Emma graduated that spring. There was no inheritance ceremony, no winner declared. She got into a good college on her own merit, with scholarships and financial aid since Mom and Dad made it clear they wouldn't be contributing. She moved out as soon as she could. I don't think she's been back since. Marcus got into art school, a prestigious program that saw the raw talent he'd almost destroyed for our parents' approval. He works part-time to cover what his scholarships don't, and his artwork has been featured in student exhibitions. He's building himself back, piece by piece. Tyler is doing better. He's in high school now, seeing his therapist regularly, and he's joined the art club. He and Marcus video chat every week, and Marcus sends him art supplies and encouragement. Tyler says he wants to be an animator someday. I think he will be. As for me, I'm applying to colleges now, looking at programs far from home. I've learned that family isn't about blood or obligation or conditional love. Family is the people who show up for you, who fight for you, who would never make you compete for their affection. I talk to my siblings constantly. We have our own group chat. One mom and dad aren't part of. We're healing together, supporting each other, being the family to each other that our parents never were. Sometimes I wonder if mom and dad ever regretted it, if they ever looked at what they'd done and felt remorse. But I don't think they did. In their last therapy session before CPS closed our case, they maintained that their only mistake was not anticipating that one of us would betray the system. They still believe they were right, that they've been teaching us valuable lessons about competition and conditional love and earning your worth. Maybe they were teaching us something valuable, just not what they intended. They taught us what not to become. They taught us that some systems are meant to be broken. They taught us that survival sometimes means betrayal, and that loyalty to yourself and your siblings matters more than loyalty to people who would hurt you. The rankings are gone, but the scars remain. We're all in therapy, probably will be for years. We're all dealing with trust issues, anxiety, the deep-seated belief that love must be earned through performance. But we're dealing with it together, and that makes all the difference. I'm sharing this story because I want people to know that abuse doesn't always look like violence. Sometimes it looks like a spreadsheet and a ranking system. Sometimes it looks like parents who believe they're preparing you for the real world. Sometimes it comes wrapped in the language of motivation and success and tough love. And I want other kids in situations like ours to know that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to break the system. It's okay to choose your own well-being over your parents' expectations. You're not betraying your family by protecting yourself and your siblings. You're saving it. The real world isn't as cruel as my parents believe. Yes, there's competition. Yes, you have to work hard. But there are also people who will love you without conditions, who will support you without demanding performance metrics, who will value you as a human being rather than a ranked competitor. We're finding those people now, building our own chosen families alongside our sibling bonds. We're learning what healthy relationships look like, what unconditional support feels like. It's strange and uncomfortable sometimes, waiting for the catch, for the moment when love becomes conditional again. But slowly, we're learning to trust it. If you enjoyed this story, like and subscribe. And if you're living through something similar, please reach out for help. You deserve better than a ranking on a refrigerator. You deserve to be loved for who you are, not what you achieve.